ready for the hoodie weather already? Damn. Let's go. Who's ready for some boom, baby, boom? Rise and shine. It's your morning marijuana motivation time. Your host with the most is Marky, saying every morning I get up and I'm blessed to be alive. And this morning is no different, except for it's a little bit more chillier. And the hoodie's back out. So much shine on me, you can't really see it, but the Saints Addiction hoodie's on. And I wanted to talk about sober feels because I did it this morning. I got such a blessing for being sober after this weekend and just watching all my friends celebrating life in their own different way and what it feels like to actually be sober. I thought I'd talk about it because it's a whole different feeling than anything else I've ever felt. It makes me feel calm. That's right. Just the breeze, just the sunshine. There's a pause. You know, you can see the ease in the trees, the breeze. We're gonna smoke one for the nation, but it's one of those feelings that when you are not self-destructing, when you're not digging holes in your own canoe, when you're just existing to be alive, to feel better about life, I started to realize that there's a little pause for the cause there for your boy to be able to breathe, you know? Where I used to feel it with anxiety, I now observe. Doesn't have a smell, but I observe myself not getting anxious anymore, which is a huge blessing. Almost got hit, you know? It's a huge blessing not to trip the fuck out about everything being hit or get all these beautiful, oh my God, it smells so good. You know, life, you know, to be able to get up in the morning and just let it all sink in. You know, it was one of those things where it used to really sink in that there was depression or some sort of, I don't have it the way that I wanted to, or life isn't smiling to me like I wanted to, or, you know, it's against me. And instead of me being against myself, I started to free myself mentally. You know, I started to free myself from conclusions, especially ones that aren't solidified. Allow myself to breathe every morning, which is really a fantastic feeling. And also clarity. It's one of those things that when you're numbing yourself, you're not clear at all. Your eyes start getting shuttery. I watch my friends trying to focus while they talk to me, you know, and their eyes are just blurry. It's almost like getting a DUI or something, you know. You just can't keep your eyes straight. And it happens. It happens to all of us. I'm trying to get around this person, but they're trying to run me over per usual, you know. And that seems to be the situation at hand, that all of us can't seem to understand, like, what we're made out of. This is a cool little backdrop here for what I'm doing. Of course, this chick's turning around and was just reversing while I'm coming in, but we'll have this conversation this morning. Yep. Look at this garage. Full-on situation. And people are pulling in, of course, every time that they need to. You know, it's one of those, isn't it? Where I wanted to be clear. I was Saints Addiction Mission. I can't believe as soon as I got here, somebody wanted to like pull up a big box truck and start fucking around. I'm gonna have to go to my other spot and just chill the fuck out. I want to be in the sunshine and absorb the energy, but it's one of those things where it used to sap me of my energy, right? I used to get so freaked out that I stutter step. You know, when you're drinking, you start spitting. You know what I'm saying? I know you know what I'm saying because you've been around someone that's done that before, or that you felt like you were less guarded, but again, you feel more self-conscious. I don't know if anybody else has felt that before, where you're like, okay, do I smell? Am I spitting on this person while I'm talking? Am I stumbling all over the place? You know, am I the best version of myself? And this is a real tough question because we're always so self-conscious that we'll be like, how's my hair? How's my makeup? How do I look? What's up, bro? I see you. Go drive a trucks as well. Yeah, no shit. I almost got hit by that truck. But I don't want to get hit by the truck of life. That was one of the things that was really about, when you sacrifice, they say you give up one thing for everything, when you're in addiction. But giving up that one thing for everything to come back, that is the blessing. Because then I can feel, the morning air. I can feel the skin. I'm not numb from the weekend before. I'm not trying to recover from something that hurts inside. I'm no longer hurting myself. And that is the blessing. That's what it feels like when you say the sober feels, is that I feel my own skin. I feel okay inside of my own skin. And that's where it's at, when we don't have to hide from something, hide from, our regret or our past or any other deadly feelings. We might as well call them deadly feelings that we get, because it'll be inside of you and you'll be like, you won't be able to forget. There's my guy. And it's a scary situation, because people don't always get to be who they really want to be. They'll be scared of something, so they'll be like, yeah, I don't want to go to this event. My buddy was going on and on about how he didn't want to go to this event, how he's going to see his ex-girlfriend, how there was people that owed him money, and all these other feelings. And I was just like, why are you crossing this bridge before you get to it? You're not even there yet. It'd be like you not going to a party because someone else is at the party that you don't like. Then you end up being a prisoner in your own life. Like, you can't even breathe. You can't even exist. You'll be so twisted in your head because of someone else. And I was just like, this isn't it. That's not what real life's about. To be the sober feels, to feel sober, I don't have to worry about what other people think about me, right? I don't have to worry about them judging me, because I've already judged myself. I've already gone through the fire of life and addictions and pains that have shaped me to who I am. I was watching a Red Man podcast, and he was just saying I couldn't take anything back because it made me the man that I am. And that's a big feeling. A lot of us, we're not trying to face those demons. We're trying to hide from them. And when you look at someone, you can tell somebody that's been through the longest mile. They used to call it a 10,000 yard stare. We all know what that looks like when we're not all there, and when you're like checking in, you're knocking on someone's forehead, hello, anybody there? And nobody's there. They don't know what the fuck to do because they're so scared. They're scared of their own shadow. They're scared to make a move. They're scared that they might make a mistake. And anybody that's ever lived their whole life knows mistakes are made to shape us. I'm a mistake master. It's made me into the man that I am today. And it's because I wasn't afraid to make a mistake. And it was because I wasn't afraid to look foolish to the crowd, which is the definition of chaos. I was all able to live this life on the edge, all the way here to Finland, all the way here with the sunshine. I don't know, people are following from behind. I'm going to go smoke my morning J and stay alive. But that feeling that I could be anywhere that I want to be, and not drilling a hole in my canoe where it's like, okay, if I wanted to be somewhere, I would have to be drunk. You know what I mean? I'd have to have my cocaine. I'd have to have my Patron shot silver, a shot of tequila. This is how strong my brain needed. This is how much dopamine my brain needed to be able to recover. And that was a lot, bro. When you're doing tequila shots and you're doing cocaine lines and still smoking weed, I was just trying to be a whole force of dopamine. These kids in their fucking bikes. A whole force of dopamine just to make me feel normal inside. And I was just like, man, this is a lot. I should be able to self-regulate without substances, and I'd be able to feel the joy of life and breathe without suffocating, and that's what it really felt like. It's like you get to a certain point where you don't feel the pain anymore, but you don't also feel like yourself anymore. And it's a really hard balance, because then you're just like, okay, I just want to have a couple, I just want to feel normal, and then everything will be all right. And then it turns out it's not being all right. You're stumbling all over the place, you're making mistakes, you're saying the wrong things, and you don't like the way that it's happening. When he said, what did he say? This guy enjoys some pizza. Okay, bro. We got actual kebab coming this morning. That's what we're going to be eating, some kebab fries. You know what I'm saying? But It's not exactly breakfast of champions, but my buddy's buying it, so I just wanted to get my morning motivation in real quick so I can go smash it. But it was just that whole feeling that I have in my life, where I was just like, I'm grateful for it. I'm pretty mad at this dude doing the fucking motorcycle in the parking garage, but everything else has been pretty all right. That I've been able to sustain myself without being scared of the future or money or any other those big anxieties, like how am I going to pay rent, and what if she doesn't love me, and what happens if things don't work out. All of those things are quick impulses in the brain that makes us freak the fuck out, and then we don't act like our normal selves. We don't do the normal things that we would normally do, like go get healthy, go outside, go get some sunshine. Next thing you know, you're hiding behind the blinds, you're looking through it thinking the cops are there trying to spot you. It's a whole fucking event of stress when you were supposed to be relaxed. I mean, that's what we're all supposed to do when we go on vacations. You're supposed to be able to enjoy things, and instead we'll freak the fuck out. We'll bug out. We'll be like, yo man, where's my cigarettes at? Yo, who took my alcohol? I've had friends fight me over stupid, like, where's the bottle, and it was under the table the whole time, and you're just like, I know you got it, and I'm like, I don't even drink, what would I need it for? And to watch myself be sober around people that are constantly drinking, and hopefully I'm setting an example for them. I mean, we're all smoking, bless up, join weed club, but not being able to or them watching me not having a drink, I think it's a huge difference for everybody. And then I just smoke my little bit of weed, hang out with the sunshine, enjoy the green, and that's the whole theme. I wear it, Saints Addiction, you already know, on the hoodies. I wear my logo on my sleeve. I make sure that I achieve everything that I want to achieve. And instead of putting energy into things that made me feel less than human, I go and double down and make myself do some amazing things, like travel the world, speak different languages, be present when I'm available for life. And that has made all the difference for me. It's not for everybody, but if you want to really feel what life feels like, you get to start to see all the flowers, all the sunshine, all the rays of light, instead of all the things that ain't going right. And that's what it feels like. It feels like freedom. It feels like I'm finally free from mental slavery and situations that used to bug me, and trigger warnings and all these other things where my homie can't seem to get a grip. He's flipping out on me. I'm just like, look, I'm just asking for a ride, homie, and he's flipping out on me. I don't have to flip out on anybody, including myself, anymore. And that's been the biggest blessing. I can just sit here, chill the fuck out, enjoy the sunshine, enjoy my time, instead of freaking out every time something doesn't go my way. I found a way to find happiness in between those things. It's the watching the concert and just listening to the music and watching the people and enjoying the moment, instead of freaking the fuck out and being like, oh shit, everything's going wrong. What's going to happen the next day? How am I going to react? And all these other fucking things. That's just all stress, bro. I ain't trying to be a stress cadet. I want to be a free being. And that's what this is all about. It's about people finding their own freedoms, finding their center, and feeling their being, instead of trying to numb it or stuff it or forget it. What you get to do is face it. And that's been the best accomplishment of my life, is that I don't have to run from it anymore. And trust me, there's a lot of people that want to run and hide and hide behind their lies or whatever excuses that they tell themselves or whatever reasoning they give it. You don't know my life, you don't know my drama, you don't know my history. Instead, you get to write the next motherfucking chapter, bro. That's what it's all about. It's a content of character, and you let your character come with its flaws, honestly flawed, like Saints Addiction. We're honestly flawed around here, and that's made all the difference in the world. So I'm just grateful to be alive. I'm sure this old lady's alive too. And make the most of your life, instead of just doing the same shit over and over, getting the same results. Definition of insanity. Shake it up. Be brave enough to go someplace and face some of your demons. Be brave enough to see the light and go to walk towards it. It's a blessing. And that's what it is. Life is a blessing. Unless you keep stressing, then you're just going to be constantly under chemicals imbalances and trigger warnings and feelings of inadequacy, instead of just saying I'm the way that I am, and I made the best version of myself that I could be, grateful that I can make my own designs and see things in real time and go around the world and enjoy it and build businesses with my partners and myself, and started from nothing. But guess what? It's better than having all that other something, that waking up, throwing up, or having a hangover, or not feeling like myself, having regret in the next morning or blacking out. No thanks, bro. I got no hangovers. I'm healthy as fuck. It feels good to be sober. And I appreciate it like nobody else's business. So that's what it feels like. It feels like life. And life is such an important game to have. This is the best game going. And for all of us that isn't afraid to live, go outside, do some exercise, get out in the sunshine. It's these things that I can feel better about, than instead of regretting or hating or getting mad at my life. I can go into it, say, no, you know what? I'm going to go in the direction of appreciation and gratitude and fulfillment, instead of this, now I'm all slithered and slathered and spitting. That's a lot of my friends. You know what I mean? Instead, now I'm living all the way here in Finland, and just enjoying these beautiful trees, this beautiful sun, this fresh air, and just being the best version of myself. That's what it feels like. Sober feels like I am real. I'm not under some kind of, what did they call that? Imposter syndrome, or when people need to feel, what's the word that everybody's trying to accomplish? Authentic. They want to show their authentic self. Well, then you'd have to show your flaws too. Everybody else is trying to portray a perfect life. They'll take all these perfect pictures, and then they'll just turn off the ring light, and then all of a sudden they got to look at themselves, and that might make them feel uncomfortable. I'm not uncomfortable anymore. I'm comfortable in my skin. I'm comfortable with my brand. I'm comfortable with the man that I am, and that is the blessing. Everybody has a chance at it, but not everybody's going to achieve it, and that's only because they're afraid to face it. I am not afraid. I'm not afraid of being who I am. I'm not afraid of strangers staring at me. And I'm not afraid of my story. It's my own authentic story. It shaped me to be the way that I am. And now I'm fortified by it. I built, like they say, a king builds a castle with the rocks thrown at him. I built a big castle walls. There's a lot of rocks been thrown at me, and there's a lot of mistakes out there. Things that I wish it didn't go down like that, or ended that way that it did. Guess what? Now I get to be free, mentally free from the slavery of thinking that I need to accomplish more, or I got to compete, or I got to make it look a certain type of way. I don't act that way no more. No ma'am, no sir. I got to fucking be who I actually am, and that's been a blessing. So, when you go live, or you're in front of public, or whatever face mask you show everyone else, you got to wear that in the mirror. You got to take all that makeup off. You got to take off all those losses, and then actually be who you really are. That's the best feeling. That's what sober feels like. It's like, this is who I really am. And I get to tell my stories, and I get to tell my own stories. I'm not telling somebody else's stories, and they're all real. There's so many memories and so many destinations, things I've even forgotten. I've gone so many places I've even forgotten where I've gone. But what I didn't do is go insane. What I didn't do is undo all my progress. And what I did was stick to my guns, and that's given me my weight loss. It's given me my antidepressants naturally, not through medications. And it's also giving me my clarity. When I wake up, I'm not trying to recover from whatever had happened from the night before. Instead, I'm making myself into the man I actually am, and that's a good feeling, to not have to hide from myself, and not have to be frowning or not smiling. I get to be blessed and not stressed and love my life. Yes, I love my life. I love my life, and that's something that sobriety feels like. It feels like I'm grateful to be alive instead of why am I alive, and I have a reason why instead of a lie, and I have a way through instead of bearing under, and that feeling is such a wonderful feeling. I wish to just share that with people this morning, because then I have better relationships with people. They let me borrow their cars, they let me stay at the shop, they helped me get shirts, and all my friends showed up, and I made them all shirts, and we had such a good weekend in Cozy Rock. So cool to chill in an old house and with all the bands and looking at all the art and all the posters. It's a full-on blessing, bro. And for that, I'm grateful. I wanted to share that feeling with people, because then they will know what it feels like to be a human being. Even though things didn't go all the way right, and I don't have a perfect life, I'm not talking to you on a yacht with hundreds of millions of dollars and pretending like everything's okay. No, it's okay with zero money. That's even a blessing, that I don't have to freak the fuck out every time there's a bill, or worry about what's going to end up happening, or how am I going to end up reacting. No, I get to be me, free. I don't have to cover up my midsection. I don't have to not make eye contact. I don't have to worry about what other people think. I am me, totally, honestly, and completely. And that right there has made me meet people that I would have never met before. Have relationships and trust, and build all those things where now people can count on me, that I will show up, that I will make the shirts, that I won't forget things, or blow appointments, or lose full days. That was another motherfucking thing, with such a unfriendly byproduct of addiction, is that you lose days. You're like, what did I do for all that time? What did I fucking do with my time? I ended up just smoking it away, or drinking it away, or snorting it away. Now I get to feel every day and make the most of the day, and say, what do I want to do with my day, and develop it that way, instead of I have to do. I get to do. I get to go exercise, and I think today would be a good day to go to the log gym and go feel the muscles inside and exercise the demons I got to work out in last week. It made me nice and sore. I can feel it in my muscles. It makes me feel strong. That's what sober feels like. Everybody wants self-confidence, but the lack of confidence is the influence, right? If you're going to be influenced by drugs, or you're going to be influenced by popularity or propaganda or the newspapers, or that you're going to be twisted inside, and believe in all the lies, and what you're doing. We all do that when we mind trip or mind fuck ourselves, and we go in all the sections and go, that didn't work, or why did I do that, or why did I say that, or why is it like that? And it's like, what am I going to do today to make that better? Don't just point at that. Do something about that. Do something about that which makes you better as a person, or makes you live your life a little bit more freer. That's where we're at. We want to be the type of people that do something about our energy, and do something with our life and our time, instead of distracting and killing all the opportunities. We look at possibilities. We look at all the things that make us the best that we can be. And there's my guy, bro. Hoover, 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 Poika, Hoover, Poika, Hoover, Poika. Yo. I keep cheering him on, man. If this guy can get up and just to go for his morning walk and go really slow, why can't I? Why can't I take on my morning nice and slow, and not have a boss, and be my own boss, and create my own things, finding my own reliable models, making my own designs, putting them on them, and making that a reality, instead of living in my own oh shit, running out of time, or I didn't do anything with my time, or I didn't do anything with my life. Instead, you're like, yeah, dude, what else can I create? Where else can I go? What else will I do? And that's all a possibility, from Finland to Vietnam, to traveling the world, to seeing myself not be afraid to get into the crowd, and be in front of people, and be all the way up on the steps with my hot press, and people exposing myself and my ideas, and watching people take pictures of the designs, and post it and share it later. It's been a full blessing. I have to touch my heart on that part, because this is such a full blessing to watch people interact with my stuff and go, really cool, or talk with their friends and point at it, or have my friends wear it and brag about it, and wear it the next day and show it off. So I got reliable models galore. I didn't tax my friends. I laced them out. I couldn't find more reliable models, more honest people that would sponsor my name and show it off and make me proud, and actually do something with my life. That's what it's really about, is actually doing something with our time while we're alive. And that's what sobriety feels like. It feels like I can do anything. My body's in shape. I'm not carrying the weight. When you're doing that, you already know. You got, what I had was like 230, 245 at my heaviest. I'm only 5'7", and to keep 45 pounds off of my midsection, almost 50 pounds, let's call it 50 pounds off of my midsection, off of my heart, so I can spark when I start in the morning. It's not this dread and this feeling like, I gotta get to bed. Instead, I just pop right up. I don't have any get back to bed feelings. I don't have any that, it's another day. I don't have the nails on the chalkboard like I used to have. Instead, it feels like freedom. I feel strong. I feel like I can go hit the gym. I feel like I can get to Vietnam. I feel like I can do anything. And that's given me all that opportunity of optimism that I was seeking in the first place, right? Like, we're all doing it, but we're not actually doing something about it, right? We're all doing something like to maybe avoid it. That's what distractions are about. That's what addictions do. They get us to bury it and forget it. Or you come into your real life and you say, you know what, I'm going to do something about it. I'm going to take my morning exercise, get outside. Even if I'm still on my phone, I can listen to music. I can move my joints around. My body will thank me in the morning. It's all of those things. And that's a blessing right there. Just like that old man I was just laughing, to be able to get out of the house and not just sit there doing the same thing and getting in the routine. And like the girl did, she kicked the thing, like she kicked the ball, and the ball turned on her favorite show, put all the snacks on the couch, and put a blanket on her. That's what we do. We find a way to placate ourselves. We find a way to hide all the time. And my point was to stop hiding from it. Have some conversations with it. Sit long enough for in between the impulses that you can actually feel it. This is what sober feels like, that you can feel the in between of the of every twinge that comes inside of you. So you're just like, I'm hungry. Oh, I gotta take a shit. Oh, I want to go smoke a cigarette. All those are like impulses, right? And when we'll follow through an impulse like a motherfucker, we'll find ourselves right in front of the refrigerator, right on the couch, and playing those video games like you wouldn't believe. But we got things to work on, right? We have conversations to have with ourselves. So if we're sober long enough, those conversations tend to start happening instead of burying them. And we've all seen that in people that look, really fucked up. We're like, oh man, life has been hard on them. They've done some hard drugs, and it wears on them. It wears on their skin. They look older. I remember one of my buddies was sitting next to the other buddy. They looked the same age, but one just looked about 10 years older than the other. And that's just hard living. So, we wear it regardless. Either you wear the solution, that you've had the conversations with yourself and why you have a meaning for life and what you want to do with your life and what kind of visions you want to pull from your mind. That's what life is about. That's the time that it gives you to develop those things and bring them into fruition, and things that you had wished for, and wishes become visions, and then you actually get to wear the thing you said you would make, or actually be in the country you said you would go, or actually speak languages you don't even know. That's a huge blessing for me. And then, like I told people, when you use their language, you get closer to them. You bond with people. People want to talk to you a little bit more. They're like, you're not just some lazy foreigner in my country. You're actually trying to learn about me, my culture, and then I learn about myself too. I find out that I am strong. I don't have to worry about being triggered around my friends for drinking or snorting or doing any of those things. It's like, that shit just looks like no fun and a big waste of time and a huge hangover. No way. I feel good, and I don't want to interrupt this. I feel great, actually. So, it's time for like a good little morning workout. You already know, men's workout tanks. It's time for, the motivation to take place, and it's time to create those things that come into our minds, specifically to us. I don't know what visions you're getting, but you're getting those visions, and they're just going by while you're playing video games or Netflixing or whatever distraction you're coming up with, masturbating. We have an opportunity to grow. We have an opportunity to be a better version of ourselves. And in that, that's the feelings that I have for this life. I'm just so grateful. And so I wanted to do the morning motivation this morning. Keep shining. You already know. And as always, peace and love. And don't forget, Chigathon. That means goodbye, but not forever in Finnish. And I will see you on the other side as soon as you like, share, and subscribe. The other side of your fear, the other side of your excuses, and the other side of the world. Because that's where I'll be. Peace.